Good afternoon. Today, I thought I would start talking a little bit about little miniature books from like the 18th, 19th, well, I guess the 16th to the 19th centuries of the world. We together will look at just anything from the binding to the decoration, to the authorship, and any notes that anyone has inscribed on books. I figured I would do this in keeping with my interest with antique books, chiefly hymnals, manuscripts, and just interesting materials from those times in which history was written in the English language or before that form of English. So some of my manuscripts, as you can see in the back room on the side, are from Henry Light, and the other one is it's just a page from the Geneva Bible of 1596. It's the title page of 1 Corinthians. Some of these other books behind me are Isaac Watts, of course, William Cowper, John Newton, and different kind of hymnals. One of them is the evangelical hymnal. Another is a Methodist hymnal. And then another one is from Martin Medan, who was a friend and maybe a mentor to the poet laureate William Cowper. That one's actually laying down because one day, unfortunately, my fan was on and it was so strong that it blew that book over, and one of the leaves unfortunately became detached. So for now it is laying down so no other harm comes to it, hopefully. My cat is in the room, so if you hear her or see her, that is what that is. So at any rate, small books. I will start with this one. It is, as you can see, quite small in its size. The binding is not very well kept by the former owners, I'm not sure who, but at any rate, this was a Methodist hymnal. You can see that, and the binding, as if you can see, is not. It's intact, but look at this. It almost looks like it's been seared down the middle. And then, of course, as you can see, this has also come out. The back also has a tear down the middle, unfortunately, but it's still interesting and still want to look at it. I believe this has an inscription, yes. It's the property of something. It begins with an A, and then R-O-E, so Andrew Rowe. And then there are some other inscriptions. I cannot quite make it out. If you can see on both pages, actually, one is written horizontally, the other is written vertically. It's probably hard to make out in the light. So yes, this was a collection of hymns for the use of the Methodist Episcopal Church, principally for the collection of John Wesley, if you know him, is revised, corrected, etc. 1836, and if we can, it's title page. It's probably backwards from your angle, nonetheless. And then it is in it was entered into Congress. There's a little introduction to how this was corrected and revised. There's a list of a couple pastors at the end of it and editors. So usually with Wesley hymns, I have noticed that "O for a Thousand Tongues" is often the first hymn in the book. If you do not know, that hymn was written on, I believe it was Charles Wesley's anniversary of his conversion. So he wrote that a year after he became a believer. Here you can see it is the first hymn in the list. If you want to know more about that, my friend, his name is Kevin Twit, and he is a campus pastor for the college ministry of RUF at Belmont. If you go to his podcast on really anywhere, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, he has a great history lecture on Charles and John Wesley. If you scroll through his podcast episodes, you can find it. So to move on, if we go to this place where this is, the binding has become undone, you can see it's quite come apart in the middle. Unfortunately, it's about to fall apart as I'm holding it. So actually, I'm going to be done with this one because really, it's only being held right here. Everything else has been split. So we're going to lay this one down. Moving on, another one that is in quite terrible condition. This is probably the worst condition. Here we are. I believe it was Methodist hymns. All I can make out is an H and an O, and then a Y and an M on the spine. Yep. Okay. But as you can see, the binding has become undone. And the leather is totally corroded, totally falling apart. There is some handwriting here, on the cover page, and then some doodling on the next one. However, we are not going to look at this one because it is also about to fall apart as I am holding it. This one is in much better condition. However, on this side it has this scar on the front, and on the back it looks like something was stamped. So you can see that it has become, the leather has been imprinted and impressed by that. Now, the binding it's quite nice. If you can make it out. There's little flowers and some gold edging. However, if you looked really close behind this, then you would be able to see that this has been rebound. And so there's actually another binding behind this. Of course, I'm not going to take it apart because then that would totally ruin the book. Nonetheless, it is interesting to see that this was Isaac Watts, Psalms of David, 1829. It has been glued, I guess, at a former owner trying to fix it. And so this title page has become a little bit too glued. But it begins, of course, with Psalm 1. Here we are, yes, Psalm 1. And then he has different versions, of different Psalms. But if you move on, it also, of course, has some of his hymns. So there are 3 parts. It's like 3 books in one. So hymn 1, just the way that they put it is, it's based off of Revelation. I'm not familiar with this one personally. If you are, very good. I am not. But the English and the way that he wrote, the rhyme, especially with the Psalms, it's they used to sing the Psalms straight from the Bible, and then it was rather dry and kind of like a wearisome task, and this like monotoned singing. And so he wanted to change that, and he, it is the scripture changed around so it can rhyme. And so sometimes people aren't okay with that. Sometimes they find it interesting, like I do. So this is in great condition for its age. This was Hulda Slott's Hymnbook, a present from her father. And then it says like precious presents on the back. You can see. So that's how people could tell, who owned what. And a lot of people would even write, favorite psalms and hymns on these pages, just for their own personal interest. These two are Isaac Watts. They look the same. They are not the same. And this one, I believe, is about to lose its front cover. So, unfortunately, and it's quite beautiful. I mean, it's rather nice. It's a good, beautiful but gold edging, on the pages. I believe this is 1817, 1827, 1815, excuse me. So, as you can see, here we go. Yes. So, Psalms of David. The paper is more modern, and so is the type. These other ones we've looked at before, their paper was a little bit older and thicker. This one, on the other hand, is rather modern. This is okay, yes, it's definitely coming apart now. But this is the inside front leaf. So, it's from the library of the Lawrence Dickens. So I guess that was former ownership. And then this is the back marbled inside leaf. So, rather beautiful. And then this one, here, it's quite faded. I have applied a leather conditioning to it. It didn't do much, but the gold edging is quite beautiful for this one as well. And then it also has that marbled edging, or marbled inside leaf, and then so too on the back. This one is from 1830, and it has a front piece and a title piece. So they would used to have artwork, in the front, depicting scenes from the Bible. This was published in Philadelphia, if you would be interested to know. And it has a preface, as most do. I think in one version that is up on the top shelf, he writes that he prefers that if people sing a hymn, that they sing the entire hymn in order to not, leave out the structure of the author's intention with how he organized the stanzas in the song. And so he comments how some people will leave out one or two or three verses in the singing of the hymn. However, he says that if there be 7 to 8 to 9 stanzas, that you sing the entire song, so that you fulfill what the author intended when he wrote it. So, just a fun fact. I have a new book coming in the mail soon, and we will look at that in my next video. But for now, I hope that you enjoyed this brief look at these small, miniature, yet still beautiful books, rather they be falling apart or not. Thanks.